pain, and I never hold back on that pop. I'ma let it rain. Made me honest, I got a ring. All praises to the Most High, let it sing. A real man, able, sister never came, and I ain't going nowhere. This is not a game. Look at you, girl, you're lonely right now, settling for bums instead of men. The Most High, He provide and protect, so He get our respect, and He leading us aboard when them chariots fly. I don't really think you hear me though. You can't cross this bridge on some billy goats. Let them save you in the end like a Seminole. Be as help me, shout let the silly go.
One time for the men doing cane thing. Dead friends to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my foe that came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. 1 time for the men doing cane thing. Dead friends to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my foe that came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up.
Shalom and shalom, sisters and cousins, and praise the Lord, saints. It's your favorite housewife, Miss Mono. Good evening to you all. Happy Thursday. Please excuse me. I'm in here trying to hold it down by myself. So excuse me if things don't flow as they usually do. All right, but happy Thursday, y'all. Thank y'all so much for joining, whether you're listening live or on the replay. I appreciate you guys. Thankful for another day on this side of eternity. Hold on. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. It's been a long day. I don't know what's going on. Like today, I got up early to walk with my daughter, and maybe that's what's throwing everything off. But like my hair was a different way. Okay, but I'm not gonna worry about that. All right, Larnice, shalom and shalom, sis. Thank you so much for joining us. And now everything is backwards. Y'all, this is crazy. Okay, that's how my hair is supposed to be. Help me. Okay. All right. So please let me introduce myself. I'm sorry. I don't have time to like check everything before the cameras start. So excuse me if I'm still fluttering with things. All right. Please allow me to introduce myself. I go by Miss Mono's World in these content creator streets. I'm trying to find my captions here. Okay. All right. Yes. Here we go. All right. I go by Miss Mono's World, these content creators. She's Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all the places the content creators be. Please excuse me, y'all. Restream has changed everything again. I'm so frustrated with Restream because it's like every 2 weeks they change everything. So you get on here, there's no tutorial. It's just boom, it's different. So excuse me, I'm going to get everything figured out. Okay, if you are not already at the YouTube, please head over to the YouTube at Monologue Magad, MONOLOGMAGAD. You can see past podcast episodes, music visuals, get to know me and the family, all that great stuff on our YouTube at Monologue Magad. Okay. All right, so just a few things to talk about. Oh, thank you so much, sis. Okay, just like one good thing to talk about before the slideshow starts. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. The Diddy documentary. We have not talked since then. So, okay, last week I was sick. I was not in the office last week. Was I in the office the week before last? I don't think I was here the week before last either. Did I take 2 weeks away from y'all? I know I definitely wasn't here last week because I was sick. I did not feel well, y'all. It struck me like Sunday or Monday. I started feeling a little bit better, but by Thursday, I couldn't talk without a headache. Like I would still get a headache when I talked and stuff. So I didn't want to try to come on here and be like just sounding crazy. Yeah, it went through my house. I don't know the official name of whatever was going on, but it was weird because it was like a sinus cold thing. My kids got fevers. I didn't get a fever that I recall. I may have though. I may have. But yeah, it was just like, weird. It lasted about a week. the boys, maybe like 3 to 4 days or whatever. But then everybody else was getting sick too. I don't know if it's still going around. But I'm telling you, like, every time I think about like going out in the public more, something like this happens. So we'll see about that. Um, okay, so no, we haven't talked since the Diddy documentary, y'all. Okay. And so I was in the tri-state area. I was in Jersey um during a lot of the bad boy era. This is when I was spending my summers in Jersey. I actually lived up there. So a lot of this stuff I had heard before, okay? But now to see like more support of these what we once thought were rumors is wild. And I'm telling y'all right now, I'm going to be tuned into that Keefe D trial next February like nobody's business. Like nobody's business. And I look, Puffy might think he might think his troubles are over, but I feel like I feel like they're just really getting underway. So we will see. Speaking of craziness, let's talk about this coach from Michigan State. And now, mind you, I'm not a big football fan or anything like that. So I'm not going to get the facts 100% correct. So forgive me if I say somebody's name wrong or something like that. But imagine if, okay, imagine if you're just sitting at home being a good wife with your 2 kids, minding your business, and your Michigan State football coach husband, who's signed to a 5-year, I think $13 million contract or something like that, has just been fired. Why was he fired, you ask? He was fired because the DoorDash driver that delivered the Plan B to his office dropped the dime on him. Okay. And as y'all know, with these jobs where you're like the face of a company, they have what's called a moral turpitude clause, or like a morals clause, I think is what they call it, where you cannot commit any immoral acts that will look bad on your employer. Okay. This man is out here having an extramarital affair. People have found out about it. Bad look for Michigan State. So let's read the article and then we're going to talk about it. Okay. All right. Close all these windows. Okay. So Sharon Moore, I don't know how to say it. Sharon Moore, the lauded head coach of University of Michigan's storied football program, threw away his $30 million career after an affair with his assistant came to light and culminated in his stunning arrest for an alleged assault. Not only did you get fired, but you got arrested for assault. The 39-year-old married dad of 3, sorry, not 2 kids, 3 kids. The 39-year-old married dad of 3's promising career came to a crashing end quickly Wednesday. He was booted as Michigan's head coach that afternoon, and within the same hour, he was busted on criminal charges for allegedly breaking into the home of his executive assistant, Paige Shiver, with a knife in hand. Now, allegedly, see, I have been reading like different articles about this throughout the day. I don't know why one article can't just combine all the information. But so apparently he went to her house and threatened to 86 her and him. And that's how he ended up in jail. Moore, the first Black head coach in Michigan history. First of all, the first Black head, I didn't know this. I did not know this. The first Black head coach in Michigan history, and this is how, okay. He's now cooling his heels in the Washtenaw County Jail on suspicion of assault charges. You know, you don't want to say things like Dr. Umar told y'all. These are words that I'm just shocked when they have to come out of my mouth. Okay. Dr. Umar told y'all. Okay. And before it was Dr. Umar, I remember many Black people speaking specifically on the fact that snow bunnies are purposely put next to Black men in powerful positions to play out situations. This girl was working in recruitment. Then she was bumped up to his executive assistant. Okay. I'm just saying. The shocking news came just days after Moore had spoken with reporters as the number 18 ranked Wolverines began to prepare for the Citrus Bowl later this month, and it caught the college football world by surprise. So on Thursday, the developments as of Thursday included Moore was reported to be suicidal and had a knife after he went to Shiver's apartment. Following his firing, he remained in jail Thursday with a first court appearance scheduled for Friday. Shiver, 32, was given a 55% raise to $90,000 last year. Before her raise, she was making $58,000. She got a 55% raise to $90,000. How that wasn't a red flag, why that wasn't a tip off that something is going on is beyond me. But anyway, the university previously investigated claims of his inappropriate relationship with a staffer, but he denied it, according to reports. He was fired when the staffer came forward with evidence of the affair after he asked her, according to claims. Michigan Football Insider reported that Moore had been acting strange, berating assistant coaches, according to ESPN. A female caller reported to a 911 dispatcher that Moore was armed with a knife and had been stalking her for months. Male at the location is attacking her, said he's been stalking her for months. A male voice in the recording can be heard saying in the audio. Okay, and so this is his wife, another snow bunny. Okay. The audio also indicated that Moore had threatened to harm himself during their alleged exchange, after which he fled on foot and was arrested at a nearby church. The dispatcher said the caller reported Moore had brandished a knife before throwing down a weapon and running away. First of all, didn't even know he was black. Really? So this is news to everybody. And then for the first black head coach in Michigan history in this day and age, that's what's shocking to me. Okay, but you mean to tell me that you forfeited $30 million for what? Not only did you get fired, you further embarrassed yourself and your family by going over to the girl's house and threatening to take her and yourself out. I mean, I don't understand, but this is the slippery slope of trouble. This is the problem with trouble. This is the problem with thinking that you could just get away with things and everything is going to be okay, right? Because at the inception of said affair, I'm sure he was not ever thinking that it was going to escalate into this. I'm sure he did not think that he would be ordering Plan B for the slide and the DoorDash delivery person would be the one to dime him out. But here we are, dimed out by the freaking DoorDash driver. And now look, everything is up in smoke. You know his wife is going to run him through the cleaners. She going to run him through the cleaners. And I hate to say it, I don't know. Was it because he got hired at Michigan and he thought he was above the law? I know sometimes some of us dark-skinned folks get in certain positions and we forget who we are. We forget our place in this country. And it's not about it being right or wrong. It's just about the reality of a situation. Y'all saw what happened to Tiger Woods when he messed over his wife. This lady is about, listen, whatever millions he might possibly have, she's about to get it. And she got 3 of his children. She's about to get it. I don't know where he's ever going to find a job at again. Or if he's not going to be in jail. You black man went up into that white lady's house while you had a white wife at home. You mean you got 2 white women and you out here acting crazy? Some people would say he was being greedy. Some people would say he was being greedy. All right. So, okay, y'all. Here's the deal about the main topic, right? I had a talk prepared. I had a talk prepared. I had a talk prepared for today. I prepared it last week because I thought that like Tuesday, Wednesday, I was thinking, okay, I should be good enough for Thursday. But lo and behold, I woke up Thursday and it was not to be. So I thought, okay, good. I don't have to worry about it, right? Because I have something ready already. Like I've been thinking that since I realized I couldn't do the show last week. Cool. I don't have to worry about next week. Haha. This topic came berating my mind, and no matter how much I tried to like put it out my head, it just would not get out of my head. And so I'm here to talk to you about. Hold on. Let me get what I'm going to talk to y'all about. Oh, that's why that was like that. Okay. All right. Our talk today is going to be about the winter season of idolatry. The winter season of idolatry. And I know nobody wants to hear that idolatry. What do you mean? What do you mean? You see, I got the little Christmas decorations up there. Yes, we're going to go there. But I think what I'm hoping is that you learn something different because I know we're tired of hearing the truth about Christmas and Christmas is pagan and blah, 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 blah. I get all that. But what I'm hoping, thinking, wishing, and praying, that's the song, by the way. What I'm hoping, thinking, wishing, and praying is that when you see this slideshow, you will see something different. Okay. So actually, hold on. How do I get it to play this slideshow so y'all don't have to see everything else? My bad, y'all. Slideshow. Okay, there we go. My bad. Okay. The winter season of idolatry. Let's talk about the spirits behind Christmas. Okay. The spirits behind Christmas consist of Bacchus, who is the Roman god of wine, ecstasy, dance, madness, and ritual freedom. So when you hear ritual freedom, you want to think chaos. You want to think debauchery. This just anything goes kind of environment. Okay. All right. Then you have Dionysus, the Greek god of letting go of inhibitions, dissolving social rules, music, rhythm, trance, the boundary between the human and the divine. Okay. The boundary between the human and the divine. And we'll get into that a little bit more. All right. So the festivals of Bacchanalia and Dionysia included drumming, wine, ecstatic dance, temporarily erased class and gender rules, encouraged costumes, masks, and revelry, and celebrated liberation from everyday burdens. And now this does not sound like Christmas that you or I may know, right? The Christmas that you or I may know includes a church service, you're gathering with your family, you open gifts, you watch football, you eat dinner, probably go to another church service, I don't know, the end, okay? But let's go back to a time. Long before Christmas, Europeans held winter festivals between December 17th to 25th. These festivals were called Saturnalia, Calends, and solstice festivals. During these festivals, they would wear costumes, have parades, practice gender role reversals, have drinks and feast, and dance in the streets. Okay. This is what they would do during their Saturnalia, Calends, solstice festivals. All right. As Christianity grew, the festivals weren't banned, they were absorbed into the religious calendar, which means the church leaders placed Christian holy days on or near existing pagan celebrations. Because you know me, when I saw absorbed into the religious calendar, I'm like, well, what does that mean? Can you explain it a little bit? Like, how do you do that? Okay. So while pagans were celebrating the rebirth of the sun, the church, quote unquote, sanctified the day, sanctified meaning set apart, sanctified the day by claiming they were celebrating the birth of Christ, the true light, okay, as opposed to the pagans who were just celebrating the temporal earthly sun or whatever. Okay. Hold on one second, y'all. My bad. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I forgot to do something before I started. Go away. Okay. All right. So, carnival season. Did I just skip a slide? I feel like maybe I did. No. Okay. All right. So, carnival season is a continuation of the debauchery from Christmas season because isn't that what this sounds like? The drumming, the trancing, the ecstatic dancing in the street. Sounds a lot like carnival, doesn't it? Right. Carnival season is a continuation of the debauchery from the Christmas season, the original Christmas season, including our beloved Mardi Gras. The Catholic calendar has arranged them in a cycle. So, Christmas season is from December 25th to January 6th. This includes your feasting, celebration, and gift giving. Epiphany starts on January the 6th. This is the official opening of carnival season in many European countries. In carnival season, January through February, is considered revelry before Lent. Okay, and we're going to get into this. All right. Like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you know when we go live here at the House of Mono. Okay, so Carnival originally began on January 6th, right as Christmas ended. Okay, in Italy, Spain, and France, Carnival traditions are spiritually connected to the season after Christmas. But it was my question, how? In Catholic Europe, Christmas and the Epiphany celebrate the wise men and the revelation of Christ to the world. For them, it was a season of light, blessings, and divine manifestation. After January 6th, historically, is called the ordinary time after Epiphany. So we've been epiphanized, we've had this great revelation, and now we go back to just our ordinary lives, I guess. In Italy, Spain, and France, this time became the festive season leading up to Lent, what we call Carnival. This was the time that the church allowed feasting and celebrations before the strict fasting of Lent. This was considered a spiritual in-between place. So if you're not familiar with Lent, Lent is 40 days of fasting between Ash Wednesday and Easter. This is, yes, it's from Catholicism, but if you went to a Black church, you also practice Lent. You were encouraged to give up something of some kind, something fun, some kind of pleasure before Easter. People mixed old folk traditions, spirits, and mask rituals during these feasting times. So, in all three countries, carnival masks were originally tied to ancestral spirits, winter spirits, and chaos versus order rituals, and fertility rites for the upcoming spring. This is why you will see masks shaped as monstrous, animalistic, and or supernatural. Carnival masks are connected to the belief that spirits roam freely during this season and identities need protection. Some still have demonic or beast masks meant to chase away the dark spirits of winter. Devil figures, wild men, and ancestral spirits and masks were thought to purify the town before Lent. Carnival was a time for humans to hide or invert themselves. This is why there was gender role reversal and chaos allowed because it's not you, it's whatever spirit you are inhabiting or allowing to inhabit you, I guess, by wearing the mask. Okay. In West Africa, many nations and people already had important winter festivals. These festivals included masquerade dance, ancestral celebration, harvest ceremonies, drumming rites, and New Year's celebrations. Enslaved Africans in the Caribbean began to merge their festivals with Christmas, not by choice. And I also was, when I was doing this, I was like, why just in the Caribbean? But the weather would have been conducive for it at that time of year. Whereas here in the United States, you know, it's cold at Christmas, even in the South. You're not going to be really dancing in the street like that, you know? Okay. It was not by their choice. It was because during Christmas time, slaves were allowed, quote, a little more freedom on plantations. So Christmas became one of the few times they could gather, dance, wear costumes, drum, celebrate in the streets, and visit other plantations. This season became known as John Canoe. It's pronounced John Canoe, a major African a major Afro-Caribbean masquerade tradition that predates modern carnival. Okay? So this was before any carnival, Mardi Gras. This is before all of that. Okay? In the Caribbean, Trinidad, Jamaica, and Bahamas especially, John Canoe develops into carnival during the 19th century. Through the combination of European Christmas masquerade balls, West African masking, the freedom of the Christmas season, and the Catholic carnival season, Jab Jab, Devil Moss, Pierre Grenade, parades and dancing in the street were created. Now, last season on Real Housewives of Atlanta, I know. Please don't hate me. Last season on Real Housewives of Atlanta, they actually traveled to Grenada, I believe it was, for the Jab Jab Festival. I have a little clip here from YouTube, so I forgot what I'm supposed to say, but please don't copyright me, whatever. I forgot what I'm supposed to say, but fair use. Yes, fair use. Okay, so I'm gonna show you this clip of them arriving to celebrate Jab Jab. Jab Jab comes from the French word. I don't remember the French word, but there's a French word for devil. And that's what they used to call their slaves, devils. And so in retaliation, they would dress up as devils and have the Jab Jab festival. And it was supposed to represent them freeing themselves. But I'll let you see some of the costumes that they wear. Okay, so you see the guy in the devil horns. So they cover themselves in like black oil or black tar. And you'll see he has like a very demonic appearance. Okay, so you see the red lips, the horns, and nobody. I would be scared. I would be okay. And so these women. Um, Y'all didn't see the video. Hold on. Oh gosh, I didn't realize that y'all didn't see the video. I thought because I clicked on the same screen, you could see it. Okay, hold on. All right, so sorry. Okay, now you can see the video. So I'm just gonna play it. This is beautiful. You got all stop. Nope. None of nobody's discernment is going on. Anything like this. Nobody is thinking twice or anything. Like that would have, you know what I'm saying? That's pretty scary to me. Princess Angelina, shalom and shalom, sis. Yeah, that would be pretty scary to me. Okay. But let's go back to the slideshow. Sorry, you guys. What am I doing here? What am I doing? What am I doing? Okay, here we go. All right. So yeah, that's where Jab Jab comes from. Devil Moss, Pierre, Grenade, stick fighting rituals. Now this was funny because I was like, stick fighting rituals. What do you mean? So apparently during carnival, what they have these stick fighting rituals is supposed to represent like life versus death, light versus darkness, two opposing spiritual principles. And they kind of stick fight it out or whatever. Okay, so modern day carnivals consist of Mardi Gras, which begins on January 6th. It builds through weeks of parades, balls, costumes, and music, and it ends the day before Ash Wednesday and the start of Lent. I believe that's called like Fat Tuesday. And listen, I know Mardi Gras is a thing. Mardi Gras is a tradition with our people. I mean, you guys get on buses and go to New Orleans and you spend your hard-earned money to celebrate this carnival. But I have to be the one to inform you that it's no different from celebrating Christmas. It's the continuation of celebrating Christmas. And let's keep going because I don't want to say too much. Let's keep going. Okay. And that date, January 6th, I mean, really. Okay, so then you have Mobile Mardi Gras in Alabama, and this is the oldest carnival celebration in the U.S. starting in the 1700s. You have Galveston Mardi Gras, Bayou Bacchanal. It's called Bacchanal for crying out loud, okay? Caliocho or Carnival Miami is another one, okay? Every pagan religion aligned their festivals to solstice equinoxes, harvest seasons, lunar cycles, and fertility cycles. Solstices, equinoxes, these are movements of the moon to indicate new seasons, times of year, stuff like that, okay? The spirits behind these festivals were tied to seasons, agriculture, death and rebirth cycles, winter darkness, and sexual fertility. So why not just cancel the festivals, right? Christianity is coming, is growing. Why not just cancel the festivals? Well, festivals could not have been outlawed without destroying the social order of Rome. Festival, because remember, it's the Roman Catholic Church. They're the ones that absorb the festivals and combine them with the holy days. So why not just get rid of the festivals, keep the holy days? Festivals provided political and community unity and predictable rhythms in life. They were also a control outlet for chaos and debauchery. I cannot help but feel like this is so much like our current work calendar, our current work and school calendar, how they have us all on the same holidays. These are the holidays elected for you guys to get together. And during this time, meanwhile, those people who are more financially dependent are able to take their family and get away whenever you want to. But if you're working and you need that check, then you're limited to when you can gather with your family. Coincidence? I think not. Festivals also fed millions of people. They employed hundreds of workers, boosted markets, and brought political clout to leaders. Think about Mardi Gras. Think about how much money New Orleans makes at Mardi Gras. Let's think about Freaknik. Y'all remember how crazy, well, some of y'all might remember how crazy it used to be around Freaknik, and it brought so much money to the economy in Atlanta. That's why it was so hard to get rid of it. Same thing with the Romans and their festivals. It was boosting the economy. Canceling the festivals would have been seen as angering the gods who protected the empire. To end them was thought to invite disaster. In order to keep conquered people subdued, the Romans learned not to cancel their festivals, but to absorb them with the Roman Christian replacement as the face of the season. So the pattern of festivals is as follows. Christmas was moved to December 25th to represent the birth of Christ. Goes through January 6th, which then you have Carnival, which is considered a season of release of earthly chaos after divine revelation. Crazy to me, but okay. Then you have Lent Ash Wednesday, which is fasting / repentance for your sins that you just previously committed in the previous however many day period. Then comes Easter, the resurrection of Christ. Dates and symbols are still from fertility, God worship, the rabbits, the eggs. All Saints, All Souls, or Halloween. That's your end of harvest and ancestral spirit festival. Changing the holiday's name does not dethrone the principalities that have been entrenched in that holiday. When millions of people continue the same feasting, revelry, masking, ancestor worship practices, solstice gathering, and fertility symbols, the spirit behind the things continue and grow in influence. Okay. This is why they need us to celebrate these holidays, okay? Please don't think Jacob, wake up, shalom, shalom. Please don't think that it's just a coincidence. Please don't think that, oh, these dates just randomly landed on this calendar. Here's something that you have to understand. We fight not against flesh and blood. Ephesians, why do I want to say 5 and 17? I don't think that's right. But I know it's in Ephesians, okay? We fight not against flesh and blood, but against principles and principalities. All right. And so what we as humans, no, I'm not even going to say what we as humans, what we who consider ourselves Bible believers have to remember that these spirits and principalities are still very much in charge today. Okay. Only that in order to, once the Christian church starts growing, right? And I hate to call it the Christian church, so we're not going to call it that. Once the word of Christ begins to spread and the church of Christ begins to grow, the Romans are now faced with a problem, right? They're trying to kill the believers of Christ, but that doesn't work. That only makes their headache even more, because as they kill believers in Christ, the testimony keeps on spreading, right? So you have these believers in Christ who are over here being unruly, and then you have these pagans over here who want to continue their debauchery and their festivals. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? In order to keep everyone happy, they decided, hey, let's all just party together. Don't worry about what it means. Right. And so this way we can tell everybody, hey, we are acknowledging both sides. We are acknowledging the pagans, and we are acknowledging you believers in Christ. It kind of reminds me of today when like they throw some celebrity in front of us and tell us that, oh, they believe in Jesus. They're a Christian now. And now we're supposed to jump all on their back. Because the mixing of things doesn't end at holidays and calendars, right? The watering down of things doesn't end at holidays and calendars. I always say they just try and put a big Jesus sticker on top of devil worship and think that makes it okay. That's exactly what they're doing. Because look, my birthday is November 20th. Okay, my birthday is on November 20th. This is the day that I was born. If for some reason my husband decides to get up one day and tell me he's going to start celebrating my birthday in October around Halloween, that's not my birthday. That doesn't have anything to do with me. What are you talking about? That's not me. You're not celebrating me. Okay? And so, same thing. How do you call yourself celebrating the birth of Christ when you don't even really know what it is? And so what we have to do is we have to be willing to come out of our comfort zone, because it is very comforting to gather with family. It is very comforting to receive gifts at Christmas time. It is very comforting to play in the snow and sip hot cocoa and all that stuff. And the image of what Christmas is and the magic of Christmas is very comforting. But the reality is that I don't know who lives in that reality. I don't. Most of the people that I know are out here working, trying to figure out how to make ends meet. And now on top of this, they feel some pressure to have a tree in their house and to exchange gifts on this particular day and to spend money on this particular food for this particular day. And somehow y'all don't feel like that's false God worship. How is it any different from Passover when you have to eat the lamb with haste? And you have to have the bread and you have to have the herbs, and it has to be done this way to the honor of the Most High. for recognition for when the death angel passed over us and our firstborn were spared. How is that any different? One, you're honoring God, and in the other, you're honoring earthly principalities. That's how it's different. But it's the exact same practices. Okay? It's just like if you write me a love letter and you write another girl a love letter. It's the same love letter. It's just about who you give it to. So don't feel like, oh, well, I'm still honoring God. God didn't ask you for that. The Most High did not ask you. In fact, he very much told you not to put a tree in your house. He very much told you that. So how do you? Because if I come to you and I say, hey, I'm running to McDonald's, what do you want? And you tell me you want a Big Mac fries and a Coke, and I come back with a quarter pounder, some chicken nuggets, and a Sprite, this is not what I asked you for. Why would you consider it? Why would you call yourself doing me any favors? I didn't ask you for this. What I asked you for was Big Mac fries and a Coke. You would have been honoring me by bringing me Big Mac fries and a Coke. And it's funny how we can understand that in our own human context, but we have a hard time feeling like the Most High deserves that same kind of specification, that same kind of attention to detail, that same kind of demonstration of love. Because don't let that man ask you what kind of flowers you like and you tell him tulips and then he brings you peonies. Oh, it's going to be a whole disaster. You're going to Facebook, you're complaining to everybody because obviously he doesn't listen to me and he doesn't love me. So how should the Most High feel when you tell him, oh, well, take this Christmas I want to give you as a celebration? And please understand that the continuation of Christmas is really just another avenue of capitalism and consumerism. I'm so tired of seeing women begging for Christmas trees. I'm so tired of it. I want to tell them, you don't need a Christmas tree. Knock it off. Tell them kids the truth. Knock it the hell off. You don't need a Christmas tree. Y'all don't need Christmas gifts. Tell these kids the truth. And then wait till after Christmas to shop. Because that's when everything really goes on sale. But if we keep participating in the lie, you are lending yourself to the continuation of said lie. You may feel like, oh, I'm just celebrating with my family. You never know, though, who needs someone to be that first person to say, something's not right about this. And hear what I'm saying, okay? I'm not saying for you to go in there kicking down the door, waving the fofo. I'm not saying for you to do none of that. I'm not telling you for you to go in there and knock down a Christmas tree and kick people's presents and throw the turkey out the window. I'm not telling you to do any of that. With loving kindness have I drawn thee. You can respectfully tell your people, hey, I'm not really into celebrating Christmas like that, but can we get together another time? Like, after you guys are finished with Christmas and New Year's, maybe that weekend before everybody goes back to work, I'd love to come over, give you guys a hug and say, hey, you have to still take on the responsibility of maintaining your relationships. You do. Why? Because you signed up to be the example. You signed up to be the example. You're the one out here telling everybody that you're the enlightened one. You have the knowledge of the truth now. And please remember that knowledge of the truth includes the fruits of the spirit and how we should treat other people. Okay, so with that being said, it is your job to set the example of how to conduct yourselves in righteousness, even with your family. I tell people all the time, home is your first ministry. Home is your first ministry. And listen, we all have teenagers. We all have adult children. Okay. We can't lock them in a basement and make them do what we want them to do. We cannot. Okay, but dang it, within reason, home is your first ministry. That's your first obligation. How are you out here trying to win souls in the street when you can't even communicate with the people who live under the roof with you? We would get so far ahead if we stopped these celebrations altogether. I love keeping my money in my house. So exactly. It's a waste. It is a big waste of money. A big waste of money. You get a tree, you hang it up for a few weeks, lights, your electric bill is going up. And then how many of them dang on trees be catching on fire? Let's not even get into all that. You go out here going into debt. And then let's talk about this year in particular. What day was that? What day was I? Tuesday. I was listening to the news on the radio. And the first report was millions of people are suffering in this economy. They can't find jobs. People are getting evicted. Prices are going up. Inflation, everything's crazy. Millions of people don't know what they're going to do this holiday season. And then maybe like 5 or 10 minutes later, millions of people are out shopping and spending money for the holidays. What millions of people? What millions of people, right? Because if I was to have cut the radio off after the first story, I would think that, oh, this economy is in shambles. These poor Americans, they're suffering. But then if you keep listening, it's like, well, wait a minute. How are they suffering if they can afford Christmas gifts? And this is the propaganda. This is the propaganda because, yes, it's true that there are millions of Americans who are suffering and getting evicted and can't find jobs and can't afford groceries. That's true. But it's also true that there are millions of Americans who still can somehow afford Christmas gifts and they're out here going into debt, credit card debt, taking out loans, trying to keep up appearances, not just for their children, but for the adults around them. Trying to satisfy boyfriends and girlfriends. It's ridiculous. That's my biggest thing with my family. Like, please, let's get together another day. We don't have to get together only on holidays and birthdays. Right. Yes, exactly. We don't. But this is what I was saying earlier when I was talking about the how the slaves were given a little more freedom at Christmas. Don't you get a few more days off at Christmas? Well, let me change that because you used to. When I was growing up, Christmas was automatic off. Everything was closed. And here in the South on Sunday, everything was closed. Like during church hours, the only place you could go was church. And then right after church, Martin's was open. But there was, you know, Christmas was considered a special sacred time. So everybody got that time off. That's how they're still doing it now. And you might be like, well, you get like PTO, but what's the likelihood that your whole family is going to be able to take? What's the likelihood that your whole family is going to be able to take that time off and you all can be together and celebrate? It's not very likely. It's not very likely at all. And so that kind of takes away. I'm not going to say it takes away, but if you are not, if you're not convicted to, then what's your motivation to buck the system? You understand what I'm saying? Like, if you don't get it, for your family members that don't get it, they don't see a reason for them to go through the extra stress to try to get together another time. And I go through the same thing in my family. We don't celebrate Thanksgiving. We don't celebrate Christmas. They do that, and me and the ones who don't celebrate, we stay here and chill and sleep and eat whatever. We don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but we had a game night the next day. People was still off on that Friday. So we were able to have a game night the next day. We still got to get together with everybody. People came over. We had a great time. We took the effort upon ourselves to put it together, to cook the food. We didn't ask anybody to bring anything. We didn't serve any traditional Thanksgiving food. It was like, what do we have? Meatballs, greens. Oh, I made some macaroni and cheese. Party food. So it's not that it's impossible, but I do understand how people who don't feel as convicted about it as you will make it hard for you to do that. So like, you know, if they're getting ready to get together for Christmas, if you can stop by before Christmas Eve to see everybody and give them some hugs, do that. If you have to wait until, you know, the 26th, the 27th, do that. January 2nd, January 3rd, do that. Make yourself available because again, it's your burden to be the example. It is on you to be the example. If you tell them, I'm not celebrating these days with you anymore, and then you totally disappear on them, they're going to tell other people that, oh, my cousin became an Israelite and then they abandoned our family. Oh, my sister became an Israelite and then they abandoned our family. They didn't have anything else to do with us. And that makes all of us look bad. I ran into an old friend at my son's basketball game and she was like, "Oh, you're an Israelite?" I was like, "Yeah." And she was like, "Well, but I had to leave that alone." And I was like, "Why?" And she was like, "'Cause they're so embarrassing." And it was like so freaking crazy to hear that. But unfortunately, it happens. Like, this isn't the first time that I've heard this. Our job is not to be offensive while being peculiar. It is not, your position should not be one of, I don't want anything else to do with y'all. That's not what you're saying at all. Your position is, hey, y'all, I found a better way. So I'm not going to participate in that anymore. I still love you. I'm still here for you. We're still family. As long as you don't ask me to disrespect my beliefs, we can hang out. I'll kick it with y'all. Long as you understand that I don't eat pork. When we went to my aunt's house in Jersey, they had a separate grill for the pork and a separate grill for the beef. And see, so that's the thing up north. Like, there's a lot more kosher and halal eating people up there. And so you're just more accommodated up there when you say you don't eat pork. Trebecca, shalom and shalom, sis. Thank you for joining me. Yeah, you're just more accommodated up there when you say you don't eat pork. It's not like an emergency and nobody knows what to do. I mean, you go to some restaurants down here and you tell them I don't eat pork, and they be like, well, that's all we got is pork, and you basically can't eat anything from there. So, you know what I'm saying? As long as they're not forcing you to compromise on your beliefs, then it is your job to still be there. How can you be the light if you never go into the darkness? And y'all so ready to go into a dark club or a dark party. Y'all want to be where the darkness is turning up instead of being concerned about the darkness that lives in your very own home. Instead of being concerned about the light that you need to be shining for your family. Like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you know when we go live here at the House of Mono. So my original talk, which I might give later because I prepared a whole slideshow and everything. So my original talk was going to be on the 3 factors of sin, right? The 3 factors of sin: lust of the flesh, lust of the eye, and the pride of life. And originally I was trying to figure out how to tie this all in together here. But when you consider the activities, when you consider the activities of Christmas and then carnival season, it fits into there perfectly, right? It feeds the lust of the flesh. And now the lust of the flesh is the things that you see that you think would make you feel good: food, clothes, relations. Y'all know what I mean. Okay? The flesh. Y'all know what I mean. Okay? And this was one of the main types of debauchery or chaos, if you will, that was allowed during this time. They practiced gender role reversal, and they kind of broke boundaries. So they were allowed to express themselves and experiment in different areas. Okay. Now you're talking about lust of the eye. This is when you see things that you want. You want a new car, you want the clothes, you want the house. And it's cool to want these things, but it becomes lustful and sinful when you are compromising your biblical principles to get these things, right? Sure, I want a bigger house. Am I about to start selling feet pictures on OnlyFans? No, I'm not about to do that, okay? Because it's unlawful, okay? Because the Most High does not approve of that, right? Yeah, I want that new car. Am I about to go out here and quarter brick, half a brick, whole brick? Hey, I'm not doing none of that. Okay, I'm not going to let the things that I see drive me to commit sin. And if you think about how this is all tied to the original sin, to Eve eating the proverbial apple, in Genesis 3, it talks about how she looked upon the fruit and it was good for food, right? Now, mind you, she had all other kinds of food there, right? And it's just like us, okay? Because you could be at a buffet. You could be at a buffet and they could have spaghetti, they could have Chinese food, they can have all kind of stuff around that buffet. But say all you wanted was fried chicken. That's all you came in for. No, not even all you wanted. The doctor told you to stay away from fried food. Here we go. Boom. The doctor told you to stay away from fried food. Stay away from fried food. Stay away from fried food. Cool. We're going to stay away from fried food. Your family wants to go out to eat, right? And now they take you to a place with healthy enough options. Like at Hibachi, you can get all vegetables and rice at Hibachi. You can have vegan hibachi. You don't have to have no kind of meat or nothing like that. All right. But no, you're at Hibachi. And instead of you being obedient and eating from the variety of vegetables, it's a variety of vegetables. You got spinach, you got zucchini, you got whatever other vegetables they have there, I don't know. Okay. All kinds of vegetables, delicious varieties of rice, brown rice, yellow rice, white rice, all kinds of, you have all these options. But all you are focused on is the fried food that the doctor told you is going to kill you. And you have convinced yourself, oh, one little bite won't kill me. This one little bite won't kill me. Not remembering that your cholesterol is teetering on morbidly high. And every time you feed yourself a cholesterol building food, it just adds more and more to your problem. But I digress. Let's get back to even this apple, okay? Now, mind you, she's in the Garden of Eden, beautiful fruit trees. I would imagine all kinds of fruit, okay? Bananas, coconuts, grapes, blah, blah, blah. Proverbially, guys, travel with me, okay? And the one that she can't have is the one that is highlighted for her to be enticed by. And now I would imagine that if we were living in modern times, it would be the one that she can't have that would be advertised on TV. You know how when Apple comes out with the new iPhone and now you and your iPhone 16 have been sitting at home perfectly happy all this time. Y'all been doing good. You have been absolutely fine with your little 16. You've been happy as long as you have your little blue dots and the little emojis and everything's cool. But as soon as you see that 17, all of a sudden this 16 is not good enough for you anymore. All of a sudden, what you had been provided with, which was working perfectly fine, which was fulfilling you perfectly fine, all of a sudden, now that one's not good enough for you anymore. Lust of the eye. Pride of life. Oh, God told you you were going to die if you do this. No, you're not. No, you're not. Oh, they told you that you were going to end up dead or in jail. No, you won't. You won't. They told you to stop fornicating because making all these soul ties was going to be detrimental to your mental health. No, it's not. Don't listen to them. You're not going to die. He said you was going to die, but he lied. You're not going to die. Pride of life. Because we don't drop dead right away from our sins. And then we look at the wicked around us, right? And they're doing just fine. Pride of life. I'm going to do anything that I think that I'm big enough and bad enough to do. And so to keep the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eye, and the pride of life running, they have to keep this order of things going. You have to come and spend money to put at the altar of Bacchus and Dionysus. You have to spend money. You have to cook food. Did anybody ever think it's funny that there's Thanksgiving, right? All right. I want to start at Halloween, but Halloween is fall. Okay. So let's start at Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving's on Thursday, right? Leading up from Halloween to Thanksgiving, you're supposed to be preparing for your Thanksgiving meal. You're supposed to be buying your turkey and all that stuff. You're preparing. Not only are you preparing for your meal, but don't you have to get your home renovated because your family's coming over now? Do y'all notice the uptick in home renovation commercials, home remodeling, new furniture? Oh, you're hosting for the holidays. You need a new refrigerator. Can't have your family sitting on that raggedy couch. Okay, money going out. Gotta buy flights to go visit family. Gotta take trips. Money's going out. Money's going out. Money's going out. The day after Thanksgiving, more money. Black Friday. You gotta come shop. And let me tell y'all something. I don't, we don't do Christmas or none of that. But baby, a sale, I'm here for a sale. And them sales was horrible. That is not, I don't know what was going on. That was like a transition from spring to summer season sale because that was ridiculous. But here we go. More money going out. More money going out. Black Friday, more money going out. And now Black Friday lasts from Saturday to, it's a whole week actually. Okay. But what gets me, Cyber Monday. I forgot about Cyber Monday. There's another day, okay? Now you're going to do Black Friday online. It's called Cyber Monday. We're going to shop. We're going to shop. Again, those deals sucked as well this year. I don't know what was going on this year. Gotta shop. We gotta shop. We gotta shop. And then Giving Tuesday. After the money is spent from the turkey, the traveling, the shopping, now, hey, if you have anything left over to give, please don't forget to give to the poor and needy among you. If Christmas was about charity, if the holidays were really about reflecting gratitude for all that God has done for us, wouldn't giving to others be the entire theme the entire time? Wouldn't that be the overall thing? Giving to others? How can we increase our giving this year? What can we do for others around us to show God how thankful we are? We living like this. Meanwhile, A young black boy in South Africa just had his legs crushed because he was picking an orange up off of the ground and the farmer did not want him to have it. So he ran him over and crushed the boy's legs. I think he's only 7. But 'tis the season to be jolly. Goodwill toward men. All that good stuff. It's easier to go along to get along. And it's fun too because I get gifts. People will buy me stuff. Why do you need people to buy you stuff? What is so wrong with being content with what you have and where you are? All of it. All of it is a hoax and a scam. It continuously feeds, it's another way to continuously feed the machine of consumerism. Always something new. Gotta have this, gotta have that. Perfect time to stock up on all that stuff that they gotta have. Not knowing that you are feeding into the spirits of the very things that you claim that you are trying to bind up and get rid of. I can't complain about me having a sex problem and I keep going to the strip club. I can't complain about me having an alcohol problem, but every time you see me, I'm in a bar. You say you want help being delivered from the sin and the issues in your life, but every time there's a holiday to be celebrated, there you are. Please don't think that this only applies to the winter holidays. I'm just talking about the winter holidays because that's what we're in right now. When it comes to spring and summer, if the Lord says the same, we can get into those holidays too. Because the 4th of July is not as innocent as you think it is. Don't bust up my 4th of July. As a black person, you shouldn't be celebrating the 4th of July anyway. As a person with any kind of sense or any kind of knowledge on how this country was founded and formed, you shouldn't be celebrating the 4th of July. You should not. What is there to celebrate? Especially you black folks who wasn't even free in 1776. You wasn't even considered a person. I don't understand black people says when I read how the slaves were granted a little more freedom during Christmas, that made me even more disgusted by celebrating it. I'm definitely not going to do it now. Gray, shalom, shalom, cuz. Thank you for joining me. I'm definitely not going to do it now. Y'all you know how you go to work, right? And you begin, even better. I'm going to tell on myself. Y'all know I love to be transparent. I tell on myself. When I get up, I run through what I'm going to do for my day in my head. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I got to do this, got to do that, blah, 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 blah. And I can have that list all done in my head, right? Ready to get started on it. I could be in motion to do the thing. But then here come my husband. Oh, you think you can handle the laundry today? Sir. Now I got to fight that little switch that you done flipped in my head because I don't want to do it since you told me to do it. Right? You could be at mail. You could be at work getting ready to send that email. And then here come your boss walking by. Don't forget to email such and such. Well, now I'm not going to do it. You're going to have to wait now. I don't know why brains work like that. Okay, they just do, right? But so how come we can't apply that same principle when you find out that Christmas was one of the only few times that your black behind was allowed to have any kind of freedom? Why is your attitude now, this is what you want me to do? Well, I'm not going to do it now. Why is that? Why does that not apply to the powers that be? Why does that not apply? Especially when we see things that don't make sense. You never stop to ask yourself why everybody got to be naked at carnival? Every carnival I've ever seen. And here's the thing. Real Housewives of Atlanta, they go to carnival a lot. Real Housewives of Atlanta, I've seen them at carnival. And then Potomac, they're always at Pride. Like every year, Real Housewives of Potomac is at Pride. And almost every year, Real Housewives of Atlanta go to some kind of island. And I've seen them participate in more carnivals than not. Like they did Canada Carnival. I know they've done Mardi Gras. I told y'all they just did Jab Jab last season. And so I don't think it's a mistake that these things are being pushed on these Black platforms. I don't think it's a mistake at all. We need to start paying attention to the kind of things that they are pushing toward us. Well, how do I know if they're pushing it toward me as a Black person? If there's any kind of hip hop involved, any kind of rap music involved, if there's any kind of Black person involved, if you hear AAVE being used, you know when something is being pushed toward you. If there's any semblance of Blackness in it, they mean for it to attract Black people. You know how this place is. And anything that they pushing toward Black people, hold on, let me check. Because I can't remember the last time this place collectively pushed something that was good exclusively for Black people. If that was the case, we would have free health care. Menthol wouldn't be so rampant in the Black community. It's funny how we can see the game when it's somebody else's issue, when it's somebody else's problem. We can see the game. We can see the conspiracy. We can see the spirit behind it. But when it's your thing, it's not a problem. Like, was it 2 weeks ago when we talked about why we have access to the kind of food that we do through no fault of our own, right? Through no fault of our own. We are caused to largely partake in the diet that we do. But you can see the problems with that. Yes, food desert and redlining and Jim Crow, boo. As soon as I be like, yeah, and so, we're not supposed to eat pork and shrimp. You know that, right? Oh, what you talking about? I don't know what you talking about. God said everything that he made was good. Huh? That is really not what the Bible says at all. But you will turn a blind eye to the things that you have adapted to make you comfortable. You will turn a blind eye to it. And we have to stop being like that, right? If we say we serve a whole and true God, then we must worship him in spirit and in truth, in our faith as well as in our work. What works are you committing if you are out here celebrating in pagan revelry? What faith are you displaying? We have our own holy days and they have their own meaning. Our Feast of Dedication is coming up. This is meant to commemorate the building of the temple after the Maccabee revolt, after it was destroyed by the Greeks. It's meant to commemorate that. We exchange gifts. We have lights, food. And it's all to the honor of the Most High God, who continues to deliver us and liberate us and set us free. Why do you continue to celebrate New Year in the dead of winter when you know that don't make no dang on sense? It does not make any sense at all. It doesn't it Y'all got to start looking at stuff. You have to start examining things and asking questions and remembering that everything that you have been made to believe in is based on some sort of construct. It is just a matter of who built it and what purpose is it. Because if we want to look at it, the laws of the Bible are a construct of our holy God. Yes, absolutely. He created this and he built this. Yes. It's a construct of our holy God. This is what he commanded us to. This is the way that he commanded us to live. So we are not operating in a construct of our holy God. Who or what construct are we operating in? You're not going to be able to keep denying these spiritual facts of life the more that the reality of what's going on in our world becomes known. We're in the information age. I can literally pick up my phone and find out anything I want. Did y'all see that lady on TikTok who drove 10 hours to confront that man who left a nasty comment under her video? She told him step by step how she found out who he was and where he worked. She politely pulled up at that man's job and said, is Mike here? Are you Mike? Walked in. She's like, can you let me in? It's a little cold. Mike lets her in. I don't have the video. I didn't think to save it, but so Mike lets her into the workplace and she's just as chipper like, yeah, Mike, you're the one that left the comment, da 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 da. Yeah, you see how easy I found you? You saw it. I'm glad somebody know what I was talking about. It was very crazy. And then she's like, I wrote you an apology. So you're going to read my written apology, or I'm going to let your wife know about your Grinder account and some other dirt that she had on him. And he immediately grabbed that paper and started reading that apology. Immediately. But you see how easy it is to find out something if you really want to? Like if it pisses you off enough. And I don't understand why y'all aren't more pissed off about having your intelligence insulted your entire life. I don't understand why more of y'all aren't angry enough about that and letting that fuel your search for the truth. Because when I think about the stupidity and the lies that we've been subjected to, even as early as American education, it pisses me off. Yes, she found that man's Tinder, was it Tinder, Grinder, one of them. Yes, and he's married. Why aren't you as determined to get your life right as that lady was to find that man behind a mean comment? Doesn't your soul mean way more? Think about the last dude that ghosted you and how you reacted to that situation. Do you put that much energy into clarifying the truth for your soul? The plotting, the planning, the manipulating, whatever it is that you do to get the things that you want. Is your soul not worth that much effort as well? I don't subscribe to fear mongering. That's nothing that I like to do. But I am a monger of reality. I am a monger of reality. And the fact of the matter is, the truth is about to start getting harder to find. You have a government right now who is so heavy on censorship that they freaking cleaned out the White House press pool, which has been a standing institution in this country for hundreds of years. One man with one threat emptied the entire White House press pool. I was watching a press conference. I think it was last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, and the amount of seats that are still empty was crazy. Crazy. There are countries right now that do not have access to the same information on the internet that you do. You do not have access to the same information on the internet that other countries do. You cannot get some of the true stories about what is going on behind the scenes in your country right now. You know how I know? Because I had to freaking search YouTube and find Al Jazeera's channel to get any kind of shred of honesty about what's going on around here. If you get a VPN and you set the internet to a totally different location, you will be given a totally different internet with totally different news, totally different social media feeds, totally different content. Yes, we live in an age of the spread of information. We do not live in an age of the spread of the truth. That is still something that you have to search for. And I feel like there's a time coming when it's going to be even harder to find than it is now. And I mean, from the truth about why grass is green to biblical truths. You can't even get in a park anymore free on MLK's birthday or Juneteenth. Donald Trump said his birthday is the only day that matters. When they started knocking down the Confederate statues, I said then, this is not the victory that these people want us to think it is. This is not the victory that these people want us to think it is. And in fact, it smells like a setup, because if you're going to remove one person's public truth, then you have to remove other people's public truth. So yeah, they started with the Confederate statues because just about most people will agree that is a bad thing and it needs to go away. But then when they started breaking up Black Lives Matter Plaza and started removing statues of Black leaders, and now they want to change the history and the Smithsonian, I said, leave the Confederate statues out there. Make them have to explain it. You want to be so proud? Explain to the world what you're proud of instead of hiding it. Why are we doing that? And this is how it starts. I live in an HOA, unfortunately. I'm about to wrap it up. I live in an HOA, unfortunately. A few years ago, maybe like two, right after Trump got elected, was it? Or was it wow? No. Biden was still in office. Right? So I'm entering the subdivision and I see one of my community neighbors has an F Biden sign hanging up in his garage, big as day. And so now the way I was entering the neighborhood, I'm here at this intersection. Our neighborhood is here, another neighborhood is here. Okay. This neighborhood, they just built some houses in this neighborhood. I mean, like almost $1 million houses. My neighborhood, right across the street, okay? A bit older, but they're still building newer houses, about the same price ranges. When you're standing at this intersection right here, you can make a right to go into my subdivision or a left to go into the other one. But when you're standing at the subdivision and you look to the right, you see the neighbor's garage and you see the F Biden sign. Never bothered me, not one bit. Never bothered me. Here come the HOA ladies on the phone. We're going to have to ask them to remove that sign. Why? Because some might find it offensive. I don't find it offensive. Why are we asking him to remove the sign? I find y'all Christmas decorations offensive. Am I walking around asking you to take your decorations down? See, the minute you start impinging on someone else's rights, now you are offering up your own rights to be taken away. Because if I insist that you make this man take down his F Biden sign, but when I come to hang up my Hanukkah poster and somebody decides that they don't like it, they can decide that, oh, I want to make you take that down. This is why we have to be separate from the foolishness. When they start trying to make other people not practice their religion, what makes you think they're not coming for yours? Seek the truth while it may still be found, please. Censorship is coming down crazy. They snatching people up off the streets, and sure, it's starting with the immigrants, but that's just where it's starting. And I hate to say that, but we see what these people do. Like, share, subscribe, turn on y'all notifications so you know when we go live here at the House of Mono. If you would like to support our ministry here, you can head over to the Cash App, $ the House of Mono. It is scrolling on the bottom of your screen. $ the House of Mono. If you would like to head over to the YouTube at Monologue Magad, MONOLOGMAGAD, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. Leave your favorite color, favorite day of the week. If you're listening live, comment live. If you're listening on the replay, comment replay. You can also follow me in these social media streets, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Most of my content is monetized. So please like, share, comment at Miss Mono's World. What else? I think that's it. Yes. Social media at Miss Mono's World. You can donate to the Cash App, and you can also like, share, subscribe the YouTube. Okay. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with me this evening. Sorry I got off to a bit of a rough start, but all praises to the Most High. We got everything going and worked out. I'm trying to think. I don't think I have anything else for you guys. The boys were supposed to come down here, but they're not. That's okay. They're excited about winter break coming up anyway. All right. So I love y'all so much. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I will be back here next Thursday. Same black time, same black station. If you are looking for a fellowship of sisters, a Bible study group chat that you would like to be a part of, please send me a DM. You can text me, however you know to get in touch with me. My email address is missmonosworld@gmail.com. Miss Monos World, you see it right there on your screen, at gmail.com. We love to have you in the chat. We do our studies every Saturday at like 12:15 to 12:30. But we also have social time. We do sip and paint. We just chat. Like we are really building a sisterhood. That is one thing I must say. We're really building a sisterhood. So I'm really, really happy about that. So if you would like to be a part of it, just reach out and let me know. Other than that, I will see y'all back here, same black time, same black station, next Thursday live, 8:00, Lord willing. I will see you guys next week. I love you so much. Shalom, shalom, and good night.
Doing gang things.
Mono.
Living super clean.
One time for my king doing king things. Mom these hoes cause he know he got a good thing.
Tune in to Why Boaz Don't Want Your Ass with your host, Miss Mono.
Shalom and shalom, sisters and cousins, and praise the Lord, saints. It's your favorite housewife, Miss Mono.
Every Thursday from 8 to 10 p.m. live on YouTube at Miss Mono's World and Monologue Magad. Now also available on the Saya TV on Roku and Fire Stick. Why Boaz Don't Want Your Ass. Don't miss it, sisters and cousins.